We are live. Hello, Facebook Nation. Welcome, everybody. I really appreciate you tuning in. My name is Marc David. I'm the founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, and I am here with Rande Moss. Hey, Rande, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
We have been having such a good kind of pre-interview visit. I've been really enjoying it. And so for those of you tuning in, Rande is a graduate of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating's training in eating psychology and mind-body nutrition. And we're going to just have a chat and find out what it is like for you to be a professional in this realm and how things are going and how things are working for you. So Rande, first of all, when did you graduate from the Institute?
Ooh, I think it's been 2 or 3 years. It's been 2 or 3 years. I can't quite remember exactly.
And what exactly, like, what inspired you to go on this path?
I don't know that I ever would have sought it out on my own. I mean, probably like most of the people who've gone through the program, I have my own disordered eating past, and I was a blogger for a lot of years, food and health blog, and I did a lot of really extreme things, like really, really long 3-month juice fasts. And I was just trying to eat so perfectly. But on the other side, I was binge eating and struggling a lot with body image. And I was sharing all of it. And as I began healing, I was sharing that too. And I had somebody reach out to me, somebody who read my blog. And she was like, I really struggle with binge eating. I'm really inspired by your journey. Would you work with me? And I was like, I don't have any training. I'm still working on some of this healing stuff myself. And she was like, yeah, but you're so much farther along than I am, and I just really resonate with what you have to say. So we got on the phone, and I started working with her, and it was so natural. It was just a really good fit, even though I didn't feel like I was there or totally healed or any of that yet. Like I was farther enough along that I could guide somebody else. And maybe a year after that is when I started the training with you guys.
Mm-hmm. I love that story. I mean, it's so organic, and it just reminds me of something I personally love to say, that as a coach, as a professional, but just as a person, forget about being a coach or a professional, for any of us, on one level, all we have to do is be one step ahead of the person that we're helping, and we can help them, right? It's really that simple, and you know, life just kind of grabbed you. So give us a sense, what does your professional life look like these days? How would you describe it, characterize it?
Yeah, well, I feel like I've been online sort of in the health and wellness space for a long time, because I had my other blog for several years, which was just the food and the personal sharing. And then I got my professional blog up and running a couple of years ago, and it was pretty slow. It was pretty slow at first. I didn't know really how to get myself out there. So I was kind of taking different business trainings and taking in your business training that's attached to the eating psychology course, and bit by bit pieced it together. And I mean, it started with one client and then a couple clients and then a handful of clients until I got to last month, and my practice, as I want it to be, was full. And it ebbs and flows depending on how long people are working with me. But I couldn't take anybody more than I have at the moment.
So tell me, for you, and by the way, congratulations, good for you. What does a full practice mean for you?
For me, that means no more than 3 clients in a day.
Got it.
I want to be able to give them a lot. I do give my clients a lot. I am in contact with them all week via email. They get a lot of online support. So it's a lot to take more than that. And then I also develop group programs, and I have a membership site. So there's more that I do than just work with people one-on-one. So if I'm maxed, it's 3 clients a day. Got
it. So you see your clients, you have these other pieces going on that obviously kind of funnel into your business. It sounds like it's all one ecosystem, yeah?
It is, yeah. Everything works together.
Yeah. I'm going to guess that you're enjoying what you're doing, because it sounds like it.
Yeah, I never would have imagined, but yeah, I love what I do.
Mm-hmm. Particular area, would you say, or areas of specialization that you have?
Binge eating, emotional eating, and people that want to learn to eat intuitively. So people who've been on a million diets, people who are sort of on the diet binge cycle, people who feel like they don't know what to eat to just feel good, those would be the top things.
Mm-hmm. Do your clients fall into a certain category in terms of male, female, age, in-person, virtual?
I work with women, I think, because I understand women. I had a journey as a woman, and I think I don't understand maybe the same connection with men. I'm sure I could. I've spoke with several men in the past on the fence about things, and we didn't end up working together. I'm open to it, but I don't sort of market in that direction.
Yeah.
Age, I work with women in their 20s. I work with women in their 50s. There's a real range.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a particular passion for any age group, or all the same for you?
It's kind of all the same. There are challenges that are different among the age groups, very distinctly different. But I don't think I have a preference. I really appreciate variety.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. So based on what you're doing right now, how do you use eating psychology and mind-body nutrition in your practice? Like in terms of, what you learned in our training, just give me some examples.
I would say the core things that I end up using, since I work with a lot of binge eaters, almost everybody that I work with is struggling with binge eating. Have just the basic things like asking them to sit down and slow down, and rather than trying to fight this binge urge thing that's coming up anyways, why don't you pull out a plate? Like, I don't care how many times you have to go back to the kitchen with that plate to refill it, but sit down, enjoy it, feel what you're feeling in the midst of this. And I find that people ease out of binge eating with a lot more ease than they do when we're just trying to stop, or trying to find other coping mechanisms, or trying, doing anything we can so that they won't binge. So we go through this transition first, which really softens, and they learn a lot about themselves in the process. Mm-hmm. What else is a core thing that I got from the training? I don't know how much to go into this here, but the archetypes of the princess and the queen. Yeah. So these different parts of us, and how we can grow into much more, a much bigger perspective than the tight focus on the weight loss. So that's been really, really useful. I really don't know what hasn't. I would say the binge eating and overeating module had the most impact. Mm-hmm. Sure.
So did the training impact you in your own kind of personal relationship with food?
Yeah, totally. I mean, even when I was taking the training, it wasn't until about 3/4 of the way through that everything clicked from a variety of sources, including the training, that I was like, oh, wow, I get this. And I actually think I'm healed or somewhere close to it. So I was still dealing with stuff when I first started going through the training. So if anybody's on the fence about that, like maybe they think they need to be healed or fixed or whatever before they can take it, it's not true. It's not true at all.
Yeah, isn't it fascinating? I love the concept of, essentially it's the wounded healer. And oftentimes what qualifies us to help others, to be a practitioner, is that we've been down that road, or there's a part of us that's still on that road, but we're on a part of the road that might be a lot less rocky and bumpy as the person that we're helping.
Right, and I think that part is useful to share too. So I can say, like, I can help you here, here, here. I know what it's like to be on this side, and I know what it's like to be on this side. And hey, this is what I'm struggling with today. So I think that helps people let go of perfectionism a little, because I know I've had a lot of teachers that I sort of put up on a pedestal and was like, well, that's what healed looks like. That's what perfect looks like. So that's where I'm headed. So I make an effort to continue to share, like, hey, this is my journey, which is a lot like your journey. We're just in different spots.
Beautiful. By the way, for those people who are just popping on, I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. I am having a conversation. I'm kind of interviewing Rande Moss, who's a graduate of our training and is a pretty amazing professional. Share with us 2 things you love about being a coach. 2 things you love about being an eating psychology, mind-body nutrition coach.
Oh my gosh. I love seeing the little moments I had along my journey happen in other people. It brings up such warm, fuzzy feelings like, oh, I remember when I got that I didn't have to judge myself for that. Or I remember what it's like for the first time to be like, oh, I don't actually want to keep eating right now. Like I'm in my body enough to be able to feel this experience. Like these little moments just bring up such warm fuzzies inside of me. What's something else that I love about being a coach? It's just satisfying work. Like, it's very different from showing up somewhere someday or every day because you have to. And it may or may not be doing any good in the world. Whereas this, I feel like I could die tomorrow. Not that I want to, but I've made a difference. Like, I know that I have made a difference in people's quality of life. And that's extremely satisfying.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, something surprising that you didn't expect when you became a practitioner, something that's just like on this journey of helping others in this realm, something surprising that showed up for you.
I think that I would learn so much from my clients.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, sometimes I will have been grappling with the same question that they are asking me, and they'll be sitting across from me and they'll ask this question, and all of a sudden an answer will come out of me and I'll be like, oh, I needed that too. So I guess it allows me to tap a different part of myself, a wiser, more relaxed part of myself. It's always easier to, give somebody else all of your amazing wisdom, but then to turn it around on yourself, I think is an art to cultivate. But it happens very naturally when I'm working with my clients. I love that.
I gotta say, Rande, I so find the same thing. And, pretty early on in my practice, when I first started about 300 years ago, it seems, I was blown away by how much each client was teaching me and how much I would learn. And I remember I was even feeling guilty for a little while because I think, oh my God, I'm getting paid. I'm helping them, but I am learning so much on the job. And every client really made me better, especially if I paid attention to it, because even the challenging ones, I'd think about them. I'd get online, or I would talk to fellow professionals and ask advice or ask opinions. Do you have like a circle of support or any people that are sort of your go-to people for your professional life, just in terms of, getting support, asking questions? How do you manage that?
A variety of ways, I suppose. I've worked with a business coach for several months, and she helped really support me in getting that side of things up and running. I don't know that I have any other friends that have gone through the program, but I have, colleagues, people that do similar work to me in the online space that are friends. And I'm currently working with a business coach, again, just sort of up-leveling things in different areas. So that would be my main support. It's funny that I don't really know anybody that's gone through the program.
Right. So in terms of your client base, what percentage are live in person? What percentage would be more virtual?
Oh gosh, like 90% virtual, 95% virtual. I've only sat down with a couple of people.
Mm-hmm. And how is that for you?
I really like it. I mean, my clients are all over the world. I've got people in Germany and England and Australia and all over the US. So I like that aspect. I don't mind sitting down with people. I like sitting down with people in person just as much. I think it's maybe the work of getting those clients versus the work of finding clients in the online world that makes the difference.
Yeah. When I first started seeing clients online, there was no online really, but there was telephone. And a friend of mine was doing a lot of telephone consulting. And I remember when she told me about it, I thought, man, that's a dumb idea. How's that going to work? You can't see the person. You can't get a sense of them. And honestly, it blew my mind how effective I was. In many cases, more effective than if I was live with that person, because in a weird way, like oftentimes people are more comfortable, clients are more comfortable, many of them, if they don't have to be sitting there with you and worried about what they look like and worried about how they're showing up. And there's you're a little bit more anonymous in a strange way. I don't know. I just find that it helps the client be more comfortable.
That is interesting. Yeah, I do think there's more comfort on either end. I work via Skype, so I pretty much always see people, and I prefer that. Like, I like to see body language. etc. But even then, like I have clients that are lying in their bed in their pajamas with their phone out, you know, so it still feels very casual.
Right. Any particular memorable client story you'd like to share? Like something that just kind of lives in you. It could be a memorable client moment, story, experience, learning, something that was maybe just a little more pivotal for you or just stands out.
I'm not thinking of one person in particular, but the moment that gets me, and it happens with almost every client, is when a woman realizes that I'm not judging them.
Ooh.
They realize at the same time that they don't have to be judging themselves, not for their binge eating, not for their overeating, not for their weight, not for the way that they judge themselves, like even those tiny little things. When all of that can be okay, all of a sudden there's like this, oh, like this look in their eyes. It's like, oh, I had no idea. And that's usually a moment of a lot of tears, and it shifts everything. Like once the self-acceptance piece is there, we can do anything.
Mm-hmm. So this might be a hard question to answer. I love what you just said, because I've had such a similar experience. When people drop in and realize they're not being judged, it almost gives us permission to not judge myself.
Oh, yeah.
And we've never given ourselves that permission. Chances are, you know, if we've had a challenging relationship with food or body, do you notice, is there a certain amount of time it takes you to get there? Or what do you think helps you and your client get to that moment? What are some of the ingredients?
You know, so much kind of depends on where they're coming from. So have they already gone a long way on this journey and they just need me to help them get over that last hump where they're really listening to their bodies? Or are they just at the beginning of realizing that they are a binge eater and that really hurts and they want some help and they really haven't done any sort of self-acceptance, self-development work? That can take a lot longer, but sometimes it happens within the first session. I think the more relaxed I am, and the more that it's clear that I'm not leaning forward and judging and overanalyzing, the more relaxed they are. And the more they can really know, like, oh, there's nothing I can say here that is going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm. So are there any particular clients or kinds of clients that have been more challenging for you? It's like a kind of client or something that shows up that maybe pushes your button a little bit, that you then have to kind of look in the mirror and go, how do I need to work on myself? What do I need to do about that?
Say that last part one more time. I was making connections at first, but then the last bit, like about connecting it to myself.
Yeah, I often find that if I'm dealing with a client that I say to myself, wow, this is difficult, or I'm getting my buttons pushed by this person, usually there's something for me personally to learn as a professional and as a person, because something's pushing my buttons. And it's all about the person sitting in front of me.
Oh, let me think about that. What pushes my buttons? My buttons will get pushed, I think, maybe when the same thing keeps coming up over and over again. Maybe the same topic comes up week after week. And even if it was something that that particular thing was not really that difficult for me, I got through it, I don't mind walking somebody else through it, there's often somewhere in my life where I'm doing the same thing over and over and over and self-sabotaging in some small way, and I don't really want to look at it. And then I realize, like, okay, soften up here on you and her. That would be the big one. Yeah,
bingo. I mean, what a great answer. You know, usually it's the thing that's pushing my button is the thing that I'm probably doing that I've disowned, that I haven't noticed, that I don't see about myself. And to me, that's yet another one of the beautiful kind of side benefits of seeing a client is they help us learn about ourselves, you know, because if I'm truly going to help someone, I've got to be in a judgment-free space.
Yeah, it's a whole new level, because I feel like any relationship helps us learn about ourselves if we let it. But this is like, you know, you need to be, they're asking you to take them somewhere. and you have to be on super alert. So I think it pushes buttons on an even deeper level.
Mm-hmm. So what keeps you inspired in your practice? What keeps you going?
Mm-hmm. I'm on Facebook a lot. I think social media is really like it's in the moment. It's everything that's happening right now. And I'm in a lot of groups like intuitive eating support group or binge eating support group. And I see what's coming up. Like I see what's digging at people, where people are stuck. And it, of course, reminds me where I've come from. And it's very right in front of my face. I'm not reading a book. I'm not reading somebody's letter from 2 months ago. Like this is what's happening right now. And I think it keeps me happening right now.
Do you find that you have to do anything before you see a client to get ready to see that client? Like what? How do you prepare for the moment?
Mm-hmm. Well, I send them notes every week. So whatever, like when we're done with our session, I will send them any notes that I took. So I'll go back to those notes and I'll see, okay, exactly where we're at. And then I need a few minutes, like a handful of minutes just to sit in silence, be with myself, come back to myself, maybe wipe the slate if I've just worked with somebody else. And then go in as undistracted as possible.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that, how do I want to say this? So I'm just working with somebody. I have to clear myself to now work with the next person. So is that just something you do in a meditation? Is it just an affirmation? Like literally, what do you say to yourself?
I don't say anything to myself. It's a moment where I'm not taking in any information. So if I have 2 clients back to back, I might hold off on sending this last person notes so that I can just have a fresh slate for this next person. Then I'll go back and send notes to everybody later on. But if I didn't have anybody before, it might just be the 2 or 3 minutes where I'm just sitting in front of my computer screen. I wouldn't even officially call it meditation. I would just say like, nothing is coming in, nothing is going out. We're just going to hang out and have a clean slate.
Nice, 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 nice. So where do you see your professional life going?
That's hard to answer because I love where it is right now. I've considered larger group programs. I just got a membership site started, so I'd really like to grow that. I have programs in there, so I have a program on healing binge and emotional eating, a program on learning to eat intuitively, how to listen to your body. So I've got all of these little programs in there, and then I've got the membership site where you can get all those programs at once. So I want to continue to develop programs to put in there. So that helps people, even if they're not able to work with me one-on-one. So I think just continuing to stay really present, because that's kind of how business has to be run anymore with the internet and with things constantly changing and all of the different outlets to connect with people change. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. I definitely want it to keep growing.
Good for you. So you could tell the world one thing, like if right now you can get on the world's loudspeaker and get into everybody's ear, what's one thing you would love to say to people about having a good relationship with either food and or body, just and or life? What piece of wisdom you'd like to share?
Until you accept absolutely everything you are today, you're not going to be able to get anything else that's going to feel worthwhile. Once you're okay in your own skin, you can do anything. The self-improvement thing, you can do the business thing, you can go follow all of your dreams, but all of that's going to feel pretty empty until there is that core self-acceptance.
Yeah. And, thanks for saying that. It's such a key part of my own philosophy. It's such a key part of, what we do and what we teach in the training. Because so many people, okay, I'll love myself when I lose weight, when I look like this, when I do that, when this is happening in my life. So there's all these conditions for when I will love myself. And oftentimes it's somehow I'm changing my body and I'm changing my diet. And the last place most people want to go, I think, that have a challenging relationship with food and body, is to love myself right now.
Well, I think that people see it as giving in, giving up, letting themselves go. But I always tell people that there's a big difference between passive self-acceptance, which is just like, screw it, I'll eat all the food, I'm fine, whatever. It's a little bit cynical and I'll do whatever I want. And active self-acceptance, where you're actually like not just saying I accept myself, but really exploring your entire experience of being you, and learning to love all of that. And then from there, you automatically take care of yourself. Like all of that, I think the self-love comes naturally once there's the acceptance and the true self-knowledge. So that's where I like people to head and get there in a more organic way. Mm-hmm.
I have another question I want to ask you, and maybe we've covered this, maybe you've said this, but actually let me make a comment, and then feel free to comment about my comment. Let me say it like that. I am always blown away at how we can help people who have challenges around food and body when we have the right tools and the right awarenesses, and when we're able to tune into them, like people who have been struggling for so long without relief, that once they get the right person listening to them, the right coaching, the right heart, the right soul, the right mind, whoa, things happen, and relatively they can happen quicker than not. So that's been my experience. Any comments about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how you mentioned the sort of like just finding the right person that will listen to you in the right way. I think there's room for all of us, like all of the people that have gone through the Institute. And anybody that does anything similar. There are so many people hurting and so many people that need this sort of guidance whose lives would be changed. Like you said, they could be changed very rapidly if they just had the support and the information. And sometimes that takes having the right person who just resonates with you the right way.
Mm-hmm. We're pretty fortunate.
Yeah.
We're pretty fortunate to get to do what we do. You know, I remember when I was a kid, and I watched my dad, you know, he got up at 4:30 in the morning. He was on a train by like 5:15 to go into work in New York City, and he wouldn't come back till late at night. He did that just about forever. And I remember thinking, wow, I wish there was a better way. So, you know, for me, one of the things about being a practitioner, being a teacher, being able to, you know, do my profession online, virtual, and, you know, some live is, it's just such an easier lifestyle in so many ways. You can integrate work into lifestyle. It's just something I absolutely love, commuting from upstairs to downstairs, from bedroom to office, really, is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Miss Rande, I so appreciate you, and I'm so appreciating learning more about you and your journey and what you do, and what a wonderful story, and just thank you for really representing, and thank you for just kind of taking, you know, the education that you got and just morphing it into your own, you know, what works for you, your style, and serving people. Really good for you. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much for giving the education opportunity. Obviously, it's changed my life, and it continues to ripple out.
I love it. I love it. I'm glad you took the time. I'm glad we took the time to do this together. And I want to say, for people tuning in, yeah, let me just give you a plug for the training here. So for the Eating Psychology Coach and My Body Nutrition training, so enrollment's open. It's in full swing for our next training. So if you want to learn more, email us at info@psychologyofelating.com. That's info@psychologyofelating.com. Happy to set you up with a phone call with one of our enrollment advisors, or answer your questions by email, or tell you when our next live webinar is. We would just love to answer your questions. And that's info@psychologyofelating.com. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I so appreciate everybody's time and effort. Again, Rande, it's been so good getting to know you, and really best of luck with all your work.
Thank you so much.
Yes. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.